Before I dive into this first episode, I want to clarify that I was going to film this 2 weeks ago and then stumbled upon the most emotionally challenging 2 weeks of my life in my dear grandmother's final season of her life. So, as life would have it, sometimes things don't go according to plan. And so this is gonna kind of be me winging the first episode, and it is called Truth Over Reputation. I want to clarify that I did not set out to be a recovery influencer or a sober influencer. That was not the plan. And while it was exciting in the beginning, it eventually for me developed into feeling like pressure, or I had feelings of like inadequacy, and people wanted me to have answers that like I don't have for them. Like, how did you do it? My brother passed away and I got beat to a pulp. Like, I mean, I don't have the answers other than, you know, you have to really just put one foot in front of the other. It really is one day at a time. And it really comes down to pulling from your soul, or what's left of it, you know, after such a soul shattering thing like substance abuse and substance addiction or whatever. And so as time has went on with Courtnologist, I have created like a character, and people that know me, even though nobody like verbalized it to me, they knew, they know me in real life, and the me that I was delivering online had become so far from who I am in real life that it started to weigh on me in the way of I felt inauthentic. And authenticity is very important to me. I don't care if anyone else thinks I'm keeping it real. As long as I know I'm keeping it real, that's important to me. It's something that I pride myself on. But I wasn't doing that. Like, I was genuine in the way that I'm trying to like give people good advice or be supportive, or, you know, recover out loud, or show people that recovery is possible. But at the end of the day, it still wasn't me being authentic, and it still became like a task. And the pressure showed me that there was something missing. There was something I was doing wrong that made this go from something I was enjoying to something that made me feel inadequate, because you want to save everybody. You want to have the answers. And I am not a peer recovery specialist. I am simply somebody that has recovered from some things and has changed my life. And as much as it is important to me to shed light on the fact that recovery from substances is possible, I recovered from so much more. And I'll get to that in just a second. But I just want to say that, you know, if you've followed me for a long time, then you know I don't use words like clean and sober, because that's not what I am. I applaud people that, you know, change their lives afterwards and do not consume any mind-altering substances. I think that's absolutely amazing for people that do that. Some people have to do that. Some people desire to do that. And I think it's beautiful when people do it. That's not the path that I took. I, you know, utilized medical, you know, and continue to do so in food form, in edible form. And when I'm done filming this, I'm going to go out to eat and get some wings, and I'm going to have a drink with my wings, and I'm going to do that. And that's okay for me. That might not be okay for you. That's okay for me. And I understand that I will lose followers in saying this, and that's okay. Like, if I am not somebody, if I am now a trigger to you for knowing that about me, I'm sorry, and you shouldn't follow me. You shouldn't follow me if you are looking for just that content, because that's not who I am. There's amazing sober influencers all over the internet. Like, there's just so many. I mean, from Hunter Michael Shepherd to Rachel Elizabeth, there's so many that like I love and I respect and I cherish. I do, but that's not who I really am at the end of it. But what I am is somebody that recovered from IV substances, and I'm proud of myself for that. And I'm not going to walk anybody else's path of recovery, and nobody else walked the same path that I walked to get here, or had the same circumstances as I had, or the same trauma, or the same lack of coping skills, or the same this or that. Like, we're all very different. And I realized that kind of takes me out of the running for being a recovery influencer in some way. But I want to clarify, if I'm going to continue to do the Courtnologist, sometimes I might have dirty fingernails. I'm not going to put on eyelashes because I don't care. I don't care. I was putting on a mask and a face and wording things a certain way. And I get that I can't curse because then I can't like have ads ran. So like, cool. You know, that's something that is who I am. If you know me, I curse like a sailor. That's fine. That's an adjustment I can make, but that's not who I am. It's really not who I am. And if I'm going to show up on this platform, if I'm going to continue to do this Courtnologist thing and the sharing my life thing, I'm going to share my life. I'm going to share my thoughts. I'm going to share my concerns. I am not going to sit here and tell you that I haven't gotten stressed out and let life get the best of me and went and got hammered, or sat on my couch and got hammered. Yes, I've done it. Am I upset about it? No. Am I going to beat myself up about it? No. Did it lead me to other things? No. Do I understand that for some people, that is like a risk that could take them all the way back to the trenches, all the way back to rock bottom? I get that. And I'm not going to apologize for what my life looks like almost 8 years after stopping using. I'm not going to apologize for that. Additionally, I'm almost 40 years old, and something changed for me in the last, I'd say, 2 years, where it was undeniable to me that I was changing, that I was evolving. And when this became harder for me to do, as a lot of you that have like followed me for years know, like I used to always post and be joking and post all these things. And then I just felt like this machine, this redundant machine, this fraudulent machine. And for what? For what? But in that way, I built this. You know, I have over 300,000 total followers, and I'm showing up as some fractured version of myself, and I can't do that and do this and be in my bachelor program and be a mom, and you know, I can't do it. I have notes because I'm all over the place. Literally, my grandmother passed away on the 27th of September. Okay, so just know, the reason that I didn't push off the deadline is because if there's ever been a reason or a time that I can be real and raw and unfiltered, it's now, because I don't care about the cushion. I don't care about the, dressing this up. Like, this is what it is. My name is Courtney Moniz. I run the Courtnologist. I have recovered from IV substances, from heroin, from meth, from cocaine, from pills, from all these things. I've done that. I'm not a sober person. I'm not a clean person. Sometimes I have these like really dark hormonal moments. And if you're someone familiar with perimenopause, you know what I'm talking about. And I will go eat a couple edibles and then I'll watch Housewives. Maybe I'll cry for 20 minutes. Who knows? But I'll do that. And that's okay for me. It might not be okay for you. And again, if this changes things for how you view me, please don't continue to follow me if I could be a potential trigger. I mean, I do still believe that our triggers are our responsibility. And if the internet, all these unknown variables that are full of possible triggers, then I mean, I get it, and I would hate to see you go, but I would understand, and I would strongly suggest it, not because I'm going to have all this different, dark, terrible, scary, dangerous content, because that's not it. But if I feel like I have to show up as somebody else and I have to dress up like somebody else and I have to talk like somebody else because I feel like these other people's recovery is in my hands, I can't do that. I can't do that. literally can't do that. Okay. So anyway, I thought about it for a long time and realized that I should just turn it into podcast form. Actually, it was suggested to me. I did a true crime podcast with Matthew Cox that was actually kind of life-changing, not because of the content that like what happened there, but because I think I faced myself for the first time. Like I had went and got far too much Botox, far too much lip filler. My face was frozen. I hadn't went and like bought jeans in years, and this is in last November, went to Walmart, and got me some jeans and realized, oh my God, I'm in a size 18 jeans. Like, when did that happen? And like on the way to Tampa for this podcast, I started to realize that like I was becoming a caricature, and it all felt so backwards for me, because what was I becoming and what was I doing it for? Now, don't get me wrong. I still plan on getting Botox, and I'm proud of that. I'm in filler, and who cares? None of your business. If you don't like it, I don't care. I don't care. It's my face, my choice. I don't care. But ultimately, I realized in a really heavy and psychological way that what was happening to me because of social media, I wasn't okay with that. It wasn't sitting right with me, and I'm not a fake and I realized I was becoming a fake and I'm not that. So anyway, for me to continue to go on with this platform, yes, I'll still share before and afters, and yes, I will still heavily advocate for recovery and harm reduction methods of all kinds. Whatever can help you crawl out of hell. Like, I will always be able to applaud that. Like, that is a beautiful thing, to be reunited with your children or to change your life or whatever it is. Like, it's not my business, right? Like, make America mind its business again. Anyway, so I thought about all the other things that I had recovered from, because in my realizing that it feels not fraudulent, because I did recover. I did stop, doing those things. I'm not that anymore. I'm this. Like, I get these things, but I didn't just recover from substances. I recovered from so much more that isn't often talked about. And so if you're going to remain on my channel, and if I'm going to remain on my channel, then I want you to also know other things that I've recovered from. I had a booger. What are you gonna do? I should edit that out, and I'm not, because I don't care. Because if I have to do all of that to be on social media, I'm not gonna be on social media. I made a list. I recovered from other things other than substances. I recovered from being somebody incapable of accountability. It was always everybody else's fault for everything that I did or anything that I had become or any choice that I'd made. It was always somebody else's fault, and I recovered from that. I recovered from the victim mentality that kept me stuck using, because so long as you're pointing that way, even if people did these things to you, even if you went through these horrible traumatic events, right? You still have to look at your free will and choice of use. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, it's important. Accountability bred my recovery, and that might not be the same for you, and that's okay, because this is talking about me. All right, but I recovered from that. I recovered from feeling entitled, like entitlement, like just things I would do, things I would expect from my family, things that were being taken care of for me as an adult that like shouldn't have been. Like, I shouldn't have expected anybody to come to my rescue when I wasn't even doing the most basic form of coming to my own rescue. Like, I felt like I moved in with one of my best friends and like disrespected their home by like letting my dog, like not taking him out, like just various things that I did in the way of entitlement. I'm not like that. I do not feel that way. And so I've recovered from that. I have recovered from being manipulative. Now, as a former addict, whether you realize you're doing it or not, we're manipulative. We manipulate ourselves. We manipulate others. We feed ourselves a narrative so that we can feed it to somebody else and regurgitate the BS that it is. And whether we realize we're doing it or not, there is a level of manipulation within addiction, and I recovered from that. I recovered from being on the outside of my family. I isolated myself from my family without even realizing that's what I was doing. I would tell myself whatever I needed to, but really anybody that wanted me to stop or wanted better for me, I got as far away from them as I could, because I don't want to hear it. And when you're in active addiction, you don't want to hear somebody tell you, oh, you can do better, you need to do this, or you need to do that, because deep down you already know, but your self-hatred is perpetuating the use. It's like such a cycle, but isolating myself from my family so that I didn't have to hear their love and their desires for me to survive it. Looking back almost 8 years later, like being on the inside of my family now, a fundamental piece of my family now, I recovered from isolating from my family. I recovered from being an absent parent. My daughter growing up experienced that version of me for several years, and my son never will. And I can say never, because I did. I just did. And I'm going to continue to put that into the universe. So, law of attraction or whatever. But I recovered from being an absent parent, and truthfully, it's interesting because parental guilt and active addiction will also perpetuate continued use. It's just the cycle of self-hatred that just keeps you destroying yourself, especially if you're a parent and that parental guilt is like disrupting you because you know there's a part of you inside that knows like that's not how it's supposed to be, that's not who you really are. And to recover from that and to be the 24/7 parent that I am, I also recovered from being an absent parent. I recovered from self-sabotage, which in itself is like all of these wrapped into one. You know, self-sabotage for me in a nutshell was my addiction. It was, I mean, what else would you call that? You know, I recovered from hiding behind half-truths. I spent my entire addiction, again, lying, manipulating myself so I could lie and manipulate everybody else, you know, and it's just one of those things that when you shed these flaws associated with your active addiction years, as you go through your recovery rebuilds, like so much more than just putting a substance down changes. And I'm tired of talking about them before. Oh, I look like this before, I look like this after. Like there's so much more. There's so many moving parts and pieces, right? That in order for recovery to go properly for any of us, like we have to be more aware that it's not just quitting. There's so much more. Like people, places, and things is like the law in my life, but there's just so many different facets to what's changed for me after choosing recovery, that I didn't just recover from substances. And that's, you know, that's what I'm trying to say. And currently I'm recovering from fear helping me make decisions. I have feared putting this episode out. I have feared shedding the whole mask. I have feared it for months because I knew that this is what I was going to do. I thought I'd, you know, be able to plan this out a little better instead of like looking at little things I don't want to forget to say. And I thought I'd be a little bit more organized, but if this isn't the most authentic way to do it, I don't know what is, you know. Did that. Oh, people will tell you once an addict, always an addict. And I feel like at like certain fundamental levels, like I do understand why people say that. But over the years, I don't identify with being who I used to be like I did the first, like, I don't know, maybe the first 6 years. It was very much part of my personality. I would meet somebody, I would overshare. I used to be this, I used to be that, I used to do this. Here, look at this picture. I don't know why I did that, because I'm really not. Despite what it might look like on the internet, I'm not really somebody that's like throwing my business around like that. Like I might share about like that aspect of my life, but you're not going to catch me sharing certain things on the internet because certain things are sacred. But I don't identify with that version of me the same. And again, I'll still continue to share certain parts about that. But if that's all I'm doing on here is that, like, it's just not enough for me to do this. Like, if I can't show up like this, I can't show up, These notes really didn't help me at all. All right, so, because there's no formula to this episode, and I would like to BS you and say that maybe the next one will be more organized, but maybe it won't be, and that's okay, because it doesn't matter. I'm gonna see how this goes for the next couple weeks and see if it makes me feel differently about staying on social media. And if it does, then great, I'm happy to be here. And if it feels like a task and it feels like it's turning into something that is not a spiritually beneficial thing for my mind, for my soul even, I'm not gonna do it. I started my bachelor program last month, and that's hard, but it's rewarding. And even through the last 9 weeks my grandma doing hospice at home, which means the family was taking care of her. Somebody would come once a week, but ultimately, we really banded together. And again, certain things are sacred, so I'm not going to talk too much about any of those details. But what I will say is this: as a mother, as a granddaughter, as a daughter, my grandma was surrounded by 3 generations of hers that she has spoke nothing but love and light and life into. And as hard and as challenging as that was as a family, I'm telling you, it is the deepest privilege of my life to have been by her side. I will say that. And it really changes your perspective on a lot of things. And so all this kind of ties together with life is too short to show up as anybody but you. And if my showing up as authentically who I am doesn't sit right with you, doesn't resonate with you, that's totally fine. Like, I get it, I completely get it. Again, turning 40 next year is really, I'm noticing these changes, and I'm like grateful for them, because you care so much about what people think in your 20s and in my case, my 20s were an absolute circus, right? A nightmare full of lessons. My 30s have been about me applying everything that I've learned in those lessons, and my 40s are going to be the shedding that I just can't care what people think. I care about what I think. I care about what I feel. I mean, my kids and my family, of course, right? But I really was caring what the internet felt about me or how they perceived me. And that doesn't track for me, who I'm trying to be, who I'm becoming. I asked everyone to be quiet for like 15 minutes, but it's life. All right. Also, not on this particular episode, but on the next one, I will be addressing religion, because the videos from the podcast on the Heavenly View that I did, I got like a lot of people messaging me, questioning me, and asking me a lot of different questions that I do want to answer. I don't know that I'm going to be answering them right now, because I'm already going for 25 minutes. And truthfully, like, I don't have the mindset to discuss religion. But what I will say is this: I have tirelessly learned about other religions, not even just religions, but from witchcraft to druidry to Hinduism and Catholicism is what I was raised with, and this and that. I mean, there's just been so much. I find it so very interesting. But what I've realized for me, currently, I'm good with God / universe / higher power. I'm not good with religion, books, scripture. I feel like with recovery, not everybody's faith has to look the same, and that's okay. And I go through these spiritual conundrums, a lot more than I care to admit, but spiritual warfare is real and I feel it on different fronts, and I will discuss various things about that in the next episode. But I respect all religions. I respect our right to choose our religions. I'm not somebody that is even wired in a way where I could knock somebody, judge somebody, look down on somebody for a faith of their choosing. I don't know how to be like that. I don't know how to be somebody that judges another person based off of who they love. I don't know how to be like that. It's just, I'm genuinely not designed that way. And so I have a lot of like clashing, and I do want to have the conversations about things like that and have people help me clarify things and learn about things. I want this platform to be educational for me, maybe educational for you, but deep down, I want it to be also educational and educational and fulfilling for me. I am in a state of evolution. I'm growing and I'm changing, and if I'm gonna do that, then I just gotta keep it real about it, and that's what I'm gonna do. My kid's crawling by, acting like he's not there, but so, let me leave you with this. None of us are perfect. Whether we have a history of substance abuse or not, none of us are perfect. We are all living this life, earthside, and it has highs and lows and ebbs and flows and all the things. And I have to advocate for authenticity for me, and I have to just keep it real with you guys. Like, some of you guys send me these amazing messages about how I contributed to your sobriety, or I contributed to your staying in recovery, or for you not picking up a substance that night. And while those touched my soul, they do. I think that it is also important to note that when I get the messages of people telling me they are considering, leaving this world, or that they need this or they need that, or I need to give them an answer, or please give me an answer, or parents that want me to give them these answers, and all I can do is screenshot some resources and send them your way. But buddy, I can't. So I'm going to show up as me. And when I communicate with you guys on messages, in Messenger, because I never do anymore, I want you to come as you. And I will do my best to be what you need, but I have to show up as me. And I will help people with resources, but I just want you guys to know, like, I'm not just somebody out here trying to showcase that recovery is real from substances. Recovery is real from a variety of nightmares and a variety of traumas. And I want to influence people to believe that you really can come back from anything. And no matter who's judging you, no matter what part of your journey you're on, like, it's okay to be proud of yourself. I'm proud of me. It's hard to be proud of yourself sometimes. It's hard to give yourself credit, but ultimately, like, we do more than just recover. And so I hope that you stick around for the uncomfortable conversations I'm going to be having on here. And I hope that we engage and that I start to love this platform and doing this again, because I used to love it. And I guess we'll just have to see. But if you're still watching, thanks for sticking around this long. And this is who I am. And today I'm a mess, and maybe tomorrow I won't be, but today I'm going through it. And I just wanted to put this out there so I didn't let anybody down that, like RSVP'd or whatever it was. So thank you, and good night.